Welcome back. So far we've used our own modules and Node's core modules, but the true power of Node ecosystem comes from its community. So NPM, which is a Node package manager, is two things. It's a massive online library or registry of open source code. Millions of developers they've written and published packages, modules or collections of modules that solves common problems, and then need to fetch data from a web service. Maybe there's a package for that. You need to work with database. There's a package for that, right? So it's a command line tool. NPM, it helps you to install, manage, and share these packages in your own project. So this tool was installed automatically for you when you actually installed Node.js. So using NPM means you can build complex, powerful applications much faster because you don't have to write everything from scratch. So you can stand a chance, you can stand on the shoulders of giants. In the last lesson, we created a package.json by running npm init with a flag while. So let's look at it closely. So this file is the heart of any Node project. It serves several critical purposes. Metadata, it lists information about your project, like its name, its version, and description. And then dependencies, it keeps a precise record of all third-party packages from your project needs to run. So this is the most important part. And then scripts, it allows you to define common commands for your project, like npm test or npm start. So when you share your project with another developer, you don't send them all the third-party packages. You just send them your code and the package.json file, right? So they can run one simple command, which is npm install, so to automatically download all the packages listed in your file. Let's build a mini project, a program that actually does something useful. So we're going to create a command line tool where you can type, let's say, node app.js London, and it gets the current weather of London. All right. So first we need to install two packages from npm, right? Which is, we need to install axios. It's a very popular package for making HTTP requests to get data from other services on the internet. And then chalk, it's a package that we saw before for making our terminal output look maybe great or something like that. So what we need to do here, we need to make a new directory, make directory, which is, so we're going to call it lesson 2. I think it's 2, and then which is npm. Right, now we have a new directory here called lesson 2 and then npm. And then we're gonna cd to that directory, cd to lesson 2 npm. And then what we need to do is to npm init while, right, to actually make sure that we have that. All right. Now if we actually go to lesson 2, we should see package.json. And then on package.json, we just need to add the type, because it's not added by default. So maybe after the name, then we can just add the type. So now what we need here, we need two packages from npm. We need axios, which is a very popular package for making HTTP requests to get data from other services on the internet. And then we need chalk. So there's a package that we will just use to change our terminal output look great, to make sure that maybe our terminal output looks great. Now we're going to install chalk, npm install axios, and then we also want to install chalk. So two packages is axios and chalk. So we install them, both of them at once. And then after this, we should actually see Node modules folder. There we go. and of course our package.json file will be updated. Now if we look into package.json, you'll see that it's updated with dependencies, axios and chalk. Now for fun part, we need to write the code that will work, that will take a city name, use axios to ask a weather service for data, and then use chalk to display it. So we're gonna create a new file. So somewhere here I'm gonna touch this is to create a new file called app.js. Alright, so I think I'm using PowerShell. So with PowerShell you can just say new item instead of touch, and then which is app.js. Alright, and then you can see now we have a new file called app.js. So now we're gonna actually use the ES module. So make sure that the type module, it is there in your package.json. So this line is very important. We need to import axios, and then from axios, and then we're gonna do the same thing with importing chalk. So import chalk from chalk. Alright. Now the first thing that we must do, we must actually get the city name from the second line command, from the command line arguments. So we're gonna have a constant here, city, now we need to check if the city was provided. So we're gonna say if not city, then console.log, and then console.log chalk.yellow, and then we can just say example. So here we exit the program, and then we need to define the URL, HTTPS, and let's make sure that we put that URL correctly there, and then /city, and then we can just use axios to fetch the data. So console.log, and then axios.get API URL. So this is when the data comes back successfully. So we're gonna display the data using chalk. Alright, and then we need to catch the error if maybe there was an error. So we'll just catch it here. Error. Sorry, something went wrong. Alright. Now let's start from the top so that we can just understand what's going on here. So this line here, this is a built-in Node.js array that contains all command line arguments. Is the path to the node, all right, and then 1 is a path to the app.js, and then 2 is a first actual argument that we provide, all right, and then axios dot URL. This is a core of our app. Axios sends the HTTP GET request to the weather service URL, and then this is an asynchronous operation. And then .then, because it's synchronous, we use then to provide the function that will run after the data has successfully been fetched. And then cache if Axios fails, like maybe there's a bad internet connections or invalid city name, the cache block will run, allowing us to handle the error gracefully. And then we can just run our app. So we can run the app by saying node app.js, and then let's say Johannesburg, and then it's fetching the weather for Johannesburg, and then we can see that the current weather in Johannesburg feels like 90 degrees. It's partly cloudy, and then the wind is 9 kilometers. Humidity 76%. So you can actually see a nicely formatted live weather report for each city right in your terminal. So we've just really built a genuinely useful tool. Just to do a recap, NPM is a registry of code and a command line tool to manage it. We can use NPM install to easily add powerful community build packages for our project, and then we build a real command line weather applications using Axios to fetch the live data, and Chalk to style the output. So we learned how to handle asynchronous operations with then and catch. So this is a huge leap forward. I mean, you're no longer just writing code that runs in isolation, but you're writing code that interacts with the internet to produce dynamic, useful results. Now that we've seen how to build a powerful command line tool, we're truly ready for our next step, building a web server to make our applications accessible through a web browser.